Hey there, and welcome to Boys Love Story, where we bring you touching BL school romances that will warm your heart and stir your emotions. Each episode on this channel is a unique journey of love. Whether it's sweet, slow burn, dramatic, or healing, our stories are crafted to make you feel seen and comforted. Today's story falls into the school BL genre and is all about young love, emotional growth, and moments that make your heart flutter. Title: The Quiet Boy Sitting Next to Me. Genre: School BL, sweet and healing romance, slow burn, opposites attract. Drama with bullying themes, and a happy ending. So grab your headphones, get cozy, and let your imagination drift into a world where boys fall in love, quietly, boldly, and beautifully. Elliot Moore, a cheerful and outgoing high school junior, was perfectly content with his life, good grades, close friends, and a window seat in class where he could daydream instead of focus. That all changed one Monday morning when their teacher, Miss Patterson, announced a mandatory seat rearrangement. Much to Elliot's disappointment, he was moved from his familiar spot beside his best friend Rachel to the far back of the classroom, next to Noah Lee, the school's most mysterious and reserved student. Noah was the kind of person everyone noticed, but few really knew. Always quiet, always alone, always lost in a book or a sketchpad, he was an enigma that people preferred not to engage with. But Elliot, ever curious and friendly, was determined to break the ice. He started with casual attempts, offering gum, cracking jokes, and asking harmless questions, but Noah didn't bite. He barely looked up, let alone talked. At first, Elliot was annoyed, then intrigued. The more Noah resisted, the more Elliot found himself watching him, wondering about him. There was something captivating about his silence, like he was carrying stories that hadn't been told yet. Then, something unexpected happened. During a pop quiz on Friday afternoon, Noah finished well ahead of the class. Elliot, struggling with the final questions, watched in frustration as Noah leaned back in his chair and picked up a book like it was no big deal. When the bell rang and the room began to clear out, Noah dropped something, a leather-bound sketchbook. Elliot picked it up and called out to return it, but in that brief moment, the book flipped open. What Elliot saw took his breath away. Inside was a drawing, an incredibly detailed sketch of himself, laughing by the window. Every feature was exact, his hair, his smile, the way he gripped a pen. It was as if Noah had frozen a version of Elliot he hadn't even realized existed. And Noah had drawn it, secretly. Noah snatched the sketchbook back, face flushed. He still said nothing, but his expression, embarrassed, vulnerable, said everything. For the first time, Elliot saw beyond the quiet exterior. He saw someone who noticed things deeply, who paid attention in ways words couldn't express. Over the weekend, Elliot couldn't stop thinking about the sketch. Why had Noah drawn him? What did it mean? On Monday, their interaction shifted subtly. Noah was still quiet, but no longer cold. He stopped avoiding Elliot's gaze, responded with small nods or glances. It wasn't much, but to Elliot, it felt like progress. Like a wall was starting to crack. Days passed. On a rainy Thursday, Elliot asked to see more drawings. To his surprise, Noah didn't refuse. He flipped open his sketchbook to a page where he had drawn their classroom, with both of them sitting side by side, sharing a quiet moment. It was intimate, unspoken. Elliot felt something stir inside him, confusion, curiosity, and maybe, just maybe, the beginnings of something more. But high school doesn't keep secrets for long. Students began to notice their growing connection. Elliot, who used to spend breaks with Rachel and their friends, was now sharing headphones with Noah and laughing softer than before. The teasing started, first playful, then pointed. Rumors swirled. Words like weird crush and gay floated through whispered conversations and glances. Noah heard them. And though he didn't say anything, Elliot could see the shift in his posture, the way he folded into himself, stopped drawing in public, and avoided eye contact again. Elliot wanted to say something, to stand up for Noah. But he didn't. And that silence? It hurt more than he expected. That night, Elliot couldn't sleep. The image of Noah's sketchbook and the quiet, disappointed look he gave before leaving class haunted him. Elliot realized he had crossed a line between curiosity and something far deeper. He didn't fully understand it yet, but he knew one thing. The quiet boy sitting next to him had become the loudest thing in his heart. And he wasn't ready to let that silence be the last word. By Monday morning, the air felt heavier. Not just because the clouds hung low threatening rain, but because of what I hadn't said last week. Noah walked into class before me, as usual, quietly sliding into his seat at the back of the room. He didn't look at me. He didn't need to. I already knew what that meant. The small bond we had started to build, the shared glances, the sketches, the stolen smiles, had started to crack. And I had let it. I dropped into the seat beside him and tried to speak. "Hey," I said, soft, like maybe if I said it gently enough, the tension between us wouldn't harden. But Noah just nodded. Eyes locked on his notebook, pretending to be focused while his pencil sat unmoving. I hated how I'd gone quiet when the others had started whispering about us. I hated that I'd let those voices, those stupid, shallow voices, be louder than my own. At lunch, I skipped the usual table with Rachel and the others. I walked outside, even though it had started to drizzle, and circled behind the art building. That's where I found Noah, sitting under the covered stairwell sketching. He saw me coming, but didn't stop drawing. His expression was unreadable. But at least, he didn't walk away. That had to count for something, right? "I didn't say anything last week," I blurted. When people started talking, I didn't know what to say. Noah looked up, finally, eyes sharp but not angry. Just disappointed. "I know," he said. That hurt more than if he'd yelled at me. "I wasn't ashamed of you," I rushed to add. "I was just scared. I've never had people talk about me like that before." Noah stared at me for a long moment. Then he flipped his sketchpad around and held it out. It was a drawing of the two of us again. This time sitting under these very stairs, side by side, my hand reaching out toward his. "I drew this last night," he said quietly. "I thought maybe we could be friends again. If you wanted." Something inside me broke, then melted. I sat down beside him, careful not to bump his pencil case, and stared at the drawing again. I do want that. More than just friends, maybe. I don't know what this is yet, but I want to find out with you. Noah blinked, his cheeks tinged pink. "You're not just saying that because you feel bad?" I laughed under my breath. "I don't do grand speeches in the rain for people I don't care about." He smiled then, really smiled, and it was like the clouds broke open just enough to let some sun through. Even though the rain hadn't stopped. We sat there for a long while, not talking, just existing. And for the first time, the silence between us didn't feel heavy or awkward. It felt safe. Underscore 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 underscore. That week, things didn't magically become easy. People still whispered, still gave us looks in the hallway. But I stopped caring. Or at least, I started pretending not to care, and that was enough to keep going. Rachel confronted me by Wednesday. "So what's the deal with you and Noah?" she asked, arms crossed, eyes fierce. I hesitated. "We're figuring things out." She stared at me for a beat, then sighed. "Just don't let them get to you, okay? People are going to talk. You know how this school is." "Yeah," I said. "I know. But I also know I like who I am when I'm around him." That seemed to surprise her. Her expression softened. "Then, good for you." Small victories, I thought. Noah and I started spending more time together, not always talking, but sharing moments. I started helping him with English assignments, and he taught me to notice details I never would have seen before, the way light hit the windows in the afternoon, or how some people smiled only with their mouths, never their eyes. He showed me his favorite place on campus, a hidden art room no one used anymore, where the sunlight came through dusty windows and made everything golden. It became our place, a safe little world, untouched by rumors or judgment. And in that world, we were just Elliot and Noah. Two boys, figuring out who they were. Together. By the time October rolled in, everything between Noah and me had started to feel real. We weren't labeling anything, not yet. But there were moments, quiet, shared glances across the classroom. Our fingertips brushing as we passed a book, the way he looked at me like I was something he'd never expected to want, that told me we were on the edge of something more. We spent nearly every lunch together now, mostly in the hidden art room. Noah had claimed a corner with an old wooden easel and worn-out cushions from the drama department. I brought snacks. He brought pencils, and the silence between us turned into comfort rather than space. But peace never lasts long in high school. It started on a Tuesday. I was walking down the hallway between classes when I heard my name. "Moore's gone soft," someone muttered. "Hanging out with the sketch freak now. Maybe he's into him." You've seen the way they sit together. I didn't turn around. I just walked faster. But by Thursday, it wasn't whispers anymore. Someone had taken a photo of Noah and me in the art room. Through the window. I didn't even know it existed until it showed up online, edited with some cheap art graphics and a ridiculous caption. "Guess who's the school's new couple?" It wasn't just on social media either. By third period, it was printed and taped to my locker. Noah saw it before I did. He was standing there when I arrived that morning, just staring at the photo. His sketchbook was clutched tightly in his hands, and his face, usually calm and unreadable, was a storm brewing behind his eyes. I ripped the paper down and crumpled it in my fist. "This is garbage. Don't let them get to you." But he just shook his head slowly. "It's not about them, Elliot. It's about me. I told you before, I don't like being looked at. This is too much." My heart sank. "You're not alone in this, okay? I'm here." He hesitated, and for a second I thought maybe he'd let me in again. But instead, he took a step back. "I need space." And just like that, he turned and walked away. Underscore 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 underscore. The rest of the day dragged. My chest felt tight all through math, and I couldn't focus during literature. I kept checking the back of the classroom, hoping he'd show up, but his seat stayed empty. Rachel found me after school. "You okay?" she asked. Her voice was softer than usual. No teasing. No judgment. "Noah's not talking to me," I admitted. Someone posted a picture of us. He freaked out. Rachel frowned. That was Connor. He showed it to a few people before it even went online. You know how he is. Can't keep anything to himself, especially when it makes drama. Connor. Of course. One of those guys who always had something to prove. Probably jealous that Noah got my attention when Connor had tried, and failed, to ask me out last semester. Thanks, I muttered. I didn't even have the energy to be mad. I just wanted things to go back to how they were. But they didn't. Noah didn't come to school Wednesday. Or Thursday. And by Friday, I was half convinced he'd switched schools without telling anyone. I finally worked up the nerve to visit his house. His mom answered the door, kind, tired-looking, with paint smudges on her sleeves. Elliot, right? She asked, surprised but not unkind. Noah's upstairs, but he's been keeping to himself. She let me in. I climbed the stairs slowly, heart hammering. His door was half open. I knocked gently. Noah looked up from his bed. Sketchbook on his lap, earbuds in. He pulled one out when he saw me, but didn't say anything. I thought maybe we could talk, I said quietly. You disappeared. He sighed. I didn't know what else to do. People keep staring. Judging. I feel like I can't breathe. I sat on the edge of his bed. You don't have to hide, Noah. I like you. That's not going to change because of some photo or a few jerks in school. He closed his sketchbook, his fingers lingering on the cover. I've liked you for weeks. But I was afraid. Afraid that if I let myself hope, it would hurt worse when it fell apart. It's not falling apart, I said. Unless you let it. Silence again. Then softly, are you really not ashamed of me? That broke me. I took his hand. Noah, listen. You're the first person who's ever seen me the way you do. Not just who I pretend to be. Who I am. Why would I ever be ashamed of that? His eyes shimmered, not with tears, exactly, but with something close. He leaned forward, forehead resting lightly against mine. I'm still scared, he whispered. Me too, I said. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. Monday morning came with fog in the air and heaviness in my chest. The autumn chill clung to the windows of the bus. And I pressed my forehead to the glass, watching the blurry trees go by. Noah had messaged me last night. I'm coming back to school tomorrow. Thank you for not giving up on me. I had read it at least 20 times before falling asleep. When I walked into class, Noah was already there, back in his seat next to mine, hoodie up, sketchbook open like nothing had happened. But when I sat down, he looked up and gave me the smallest, warmest smile I'd ever seen from him. It wasn't much, but it was everything. Underscore 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 underscore. The whispers didn't stop, but something had changed. Maybe it was the way Noah didn't flinch anymore when people looked. Maybe it was how I walked beside him, not behind. Maybe it was because we started laughing together again, quietly, like a secret, but real. Even Rachel noticed. At lunch, she nudged me with her elbow. You two are, like, actual endgame. I rolled my eyes. Don't start. But she just grinned. I mean it. I haven't seen you this alive in a long time. I didn't respond, but my smile gave me away. underscore 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 underscore. We thought the worst was behind us. But high school has a way of dragging the worst back in. It happened after school on Thursday. Noah had stayed late to clean up the art room, and I'd gone to the library to return a book. When I came back through the back hallway, I heard raised voices. One of them was his. "Noah?" I called. But no answer. Then I heard it, something sharp. A slap? A bag hitting the wall? I broke into a run. They had cornered him by the lockers near the staircase. Connor and two of his friends. Connor had Noah by the front of his hoodie, fist raised. "Say it," Connor growled. "Say you're not into him. Say it's all some joke." Noah didn't say a word. "Get your hands off him," I shouted, rushing forward. Connor turned, but I was already shoving him back. "What the hell is your problem?" He stumbled but didn't fall. "This freak thinks he's too good for everyone. And you? You're just pathetic. Falling for a mute loser. Better a mute loser than a spineless coward who bullies people for attention." I spat. Connor's fist clenched. But a teacher's voice cut in before anything else could happen. "Hey! Break it up!" Connor backed off quickly, his mask of charm sliding into place. "Just messing around, sir." The teacher didn't buy it, but Connor was slippery. He walked away with a warning. I helped Noah pick up his bag. His hands were trembling, but his eyes met mine. "Thank you," he said quietly. "Again, you shouldn't have to keep being rescued," I replied. "None of this should be happening." He gave a tired smile. "It's not your fault." "No," I said. "It's theirs." "But I'm not going to let them chase you back into hiding." Underscore 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 underscore. That night I couldn't sleep. Anger and fear twisted in my stomach like smoke. Noah texted me around midnight. "You still awake?" "Yeah." "Can I call?" When I picked up, his voice was soft, hesitant. "I didn't cry," he said. "I wouldn't blame you if you did," I replied. He was silent for a moment. "Do you ever wonder if it's worth it? All of this? The judgment, the looks, the fear." I didn't answer right away. Then I said, "I used to wonder. But not anymore." "Why?" "Because you're worth it." He didn't say anything, but I could hear his breathing on the other end, slower, calmer. "I wish I could be stronger," he whispered. "You're stronger than you think. You didn't back down. You stood your ground. That's strength." He let out a quiet laugh. I didn't even punch him. "Next time," I said jokingly, "aim for the gut. Leaves a bruise, but no broken nose." Easier to explain to teachers. That earned a soft laugh. A real one. "I think I love you, Elliot," he said suddenly, like he'd been holding it in for weeks. My breath caught. Then I smiled. "I think I love you too." Underscore 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 underscore. Friday was quiet. Noah and I walked into school together. People stared, but we didn't flinch. The whispers had lost their power. And when we sat down in homeroom, side by side, shoulder to shoulder, I realized something important. We weren't just surviving anymore. We were living. Together. The last weeks of fall passed like pages fluttering in the wind. The leaves turned red, then gold, then brown. And with every day that passed, things between Noah and me grew steadier. Less like a secret and more like something real. Something that could last. It wasn't perfect. There were still moments of doubt, the occasional stare in the hallway, the lingering trauma from everything that had happened. But Noah was showing up every day. To school. To us. And that was enough. One Friday afternoon, just before Thanksgiving break, Noah tugged me toward the old courtyard behind the gym. "Where are we going?" I asked, laughing as he pulled me past the leaf-covered benches. "You'll see," he said softly. We stopped beneath a large maple tree. The ground was littered with orange and gold. The sunlight filtered through the last few remaining leaves, casting warm shadows across Noah's face. "I used to come here when things got loud," he said. "No one ever hangs out here. It was like my own little world. And now?" I asked. He looked at me, really looked. "Now I want to share it." We sat side by side on a concrete ledge, legs swinging. He pulled out his sketchbook and flipped through pages, portraits of students, trees, little moments in time. Then he landed on a new page. Half finished. It was a drawing of us, shoulders touching, both of us smiling. It wasn't staged or dramatic. Just real. "Wow," I breathed. "You made this?" He nodded, then hesitated. "I wanted to give you something. Something that's just for us." I looked at him. The boy who once flinched at eye contact was now showing me his whole heart in pencil lines and soft color. "Noah," I said, voice low, "you already gave me everything I didn't know I needed." He turned slightly, eyes searching mine. "Do you still think I'm worth it?" "Every single day." Then he leaned forward. Slow, careful, like the first snowfall, and kissed me. It was soft. Quiet. Like him. And it said everything he couldn't with words. When we pulled apart, his cheeks were pink, his lips barely parted. "I love you," I said, without hesitation. Noah didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached into his sketchbook and flipped to the very last page. There, written in his unmistakable handwriting, was one sentence. "I love you too." No noise. No audience. Just us. And for the first time in a long time, everything was still. Thank you so much for spending time with Boys Love Story today. We hope this episode touched your heart, made you smile, or even gave you a moment to escape into something beautiful. If you enjoyed the story, we'd love for you to support us by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and sharing it with other BL lovers out there. Your support means the world and helps us create more stories filled with love, hope, and healing. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new chapter. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and stay in love.